Hello and welcome to this section. In this section, we will learn about database view. This section mainly includes two contents. First, we will talk about what database view does. Then we will talk about how to use database views. So let's get to the first point first, which is a functional overview of the database view. Generally speaking, a database designed with MySQL will split the data into many forms. Each table saves different data, and at the same time, an association is made with external keys, so as to reduce the repetition of the same field in different tables. In this way, a very important method will be used when querying relational databases. Our joint table query is to associate different forms through a field and complete the query together. HighCode database is also a relational database. In the past, temporary table query often needs an intermediate amount to save, which is used for filtering in the second table. The bid is very inconvenient to use. Database view, as a widget, can greatly facilitate our associated table query. Through this widget, the data of two tables can be visually associated, and then the group can be called the data output after joint table query can be carried out. So in the final analysis, the database view is an effect for us to make a linked table query. Next, let's open the editor to see how we use the database view. If we need to use the database view, it must involve a different database. Although here, I have prepared two such databases for you. First, the first database is the examination score sheet, in which there is an employee ID and a score obtained by the corresponding employee. Then, it seems that there will be more employees in the employee information sheet, and then the data ID of each employee corresponds to one on our side employee ID, and then he has a name, position, and an age. Finally, what effect do we want to get? That is, we want to count their scores and arrange them in descending order. Then how do we make such a descending order? This will be used in our database view. Here's how to use our database view. First, select our backend, and then add our database view widget. Our database view widget is in the middle of our timing service and one of our things. Let's register and add a database view. Then, when we click the database view, he will say that he asked us to add in the account corner to create a field, so here we click a plus sign, and then we can see that he asked us to choose whether a connection field, and what is our connection field by default. In other words, connect two databases between two databases. Such a field of the bridge is our connection field. Is there such a connection field in our case? Obviously. Does the data ID here correspond to an employee ID here? So here we click a plus sign to add an employee ID here, and then open a connection. There are three connection modes, including left connection and right connection. When we talked about connection in the front end, we have already talked about it, and we will review it later now. Let's first select a default inline method, that is, the method of taking the intersection. Let's click OK, and then two mouse symbols like us appear here. What are the mouse symbols? It is convenient for us to make a point selection. So here, we choose what is in our examination form. What is our connection field in the examination form? What is one of our employee IDs, and what is the other? What is our data ID in one of our employee information tables? So we can click to see so we can select our first employee ID, and then move on to the next field. What is the next field to do? The next one is our name, so here we will directly come to a name, and then determine whether the name does not need to be connected, because there is only one name. Is there such a name in our employee information table? Let's click a plus sign. The next one is our position. Where is the position? Is the position also a position in our employee information form? And then what is our score, right? Click on the score. Where is it? Is it a score in one of our test scores? After we complete a design of a series of fields, we can also see it when we click a Save Modification. It automatically helps us integrate such a series of data, and then this is a structure of our inline. Similarly, I'll give you a try here. If I choose the left league, what does it mean? Does the left league take the left as the standard? When we click OK, we can save another modification to see what the left league is based on. Take our examination information table as an example. Is there only 5 pieces of data in our examination information table? So when I choose the left league, I take one of their left sets, and finally there are only 5 pieces of data. If you take the right couplet, does the right couplet take the right as the standard? When I click OK, I save the modification. You can also see that Chen Er and Sun Chi have no grades and did not take the exam, but they still show a series of differences between the left couplet, the inline couplet, and the right couplet. We can make a connection according to our own needs, all right. If you don't add index fields, you can't select them in the database view. Of course, the common fields here are the fields we don't want to connect. We can click and select any field. In this way, we have completed the creation of a database view, and then how to use it after the creation of the database view. In fact, the usage method is that we can use such a database view as a database, so here we still design a service. For example, here is an output, here we simply design it, here is a result, and then when it starts, we directly select such a data library view. It also has a series of operations we commonly use, such as output statistics, so here we directly select an output. What is it in descending order? Is it in fraction? So here's the sorting method, we choose a descending order by fraction. Of course, a series of values here are used by us, and then this on the side, we simply return the result, which is equal to a value of the output result object array. On the side, we can debug it. We can see a series of values here, and arrange them in a descending order according to their scores. Then we can make up some logic of the front end. For example, on the side, we add a cycle creation, and then add us an object array, and the object array import structure can be directly imported into a database view on our side. Then, its data source selects a value of the object array on our side, and then we throw a score here. We create it here, and then bind it one by one here, which is equal to the value of our current data a life. The pane here is what the binding equals to our current data. Our position here is a score of our current data. Is this binding complete? Of course, in the same way, we call an output service here when it is displayed. When it is completed, we assign a value to an object array here. The copied content is a result we return here. Let's transport it to have a look. As you can see, a data is output according to the demand we asked. Therefore, when we need to use the scenario of joint table query, we need to use the database view to make a production. That's all the content of this section. Thank you for watching.